Around 2 years ago, Ghost Train behind me reopened with a new theme, having previously been Darren Brown's Ghost Train. It became a full theatrical experience, and I'll be honest, I absolutely roasted it in my review. I thought it was one of the worst attractions Thorpe Park had ever opened. However, in the 2 years since, I've yet to return on it. So today I thought, maybe it's time I give Ghost Train a second chance. So, should we go inside and take a look? So in we go to Ghost Train. It's a 20-minute queue, and as you can see there is a 15 to 20-minute theatrical experience. It smells like sewage in this queue line. A sign of things to come. So I can't film a lot in here. I'll try and show you little bits if I can. But in the meantime, as I head into this queue line, which looks a bit chunky actually, I'm going to take you back through my description of the ride when I originally reviewed it. So enjoy that, because I thought it was quite fun.
Ghost Train is broken up into the same 6 sections as Darren Brown's Ghost Train was. You have the pre-show, the second pre-show, the first train journey, the walk-through bit, the second train journey, and then the gift shop fake-out at the end. What Thorpe Park have done with Ghost Train is to take those elements and build a new storyline around them, with actors, new theming set pieces and effects. The first pre-show is the waiting room, where you still have the 3D projection screen, only now Darren Brown has been replaced with the Station Master, who tells a story of a group of believers who had found an ancient crypt in Chapel Station and held a seance there, believing they'd found the secret to eternal life. Instead, they awakened the dead. Pretty amateur mistake if you ask me. Guests are given the option to proceed or leave, except then the doors around you lock unrealistically loudly, and you're guided through to the next room to stand and watch a TV for a bit. The screen cuts between news and weather clips of presenters increasingly acting more erratically and demonic, something which may have been effective for a couple of minutes, but this goes on for way too long. And I get that the pre-show rooms are designed to space out guests to aid capacity, but this section just dragged. Finally, we make our way onto the platform and board the train. This is still a stunning piece of theming and has always been the most impressive aspect of the attraction. Once seated, 2 actors playing train conductors join you and shout at each other from each end of the train. That's about it. From the off, they are acting erratically as if possessed, but also quite helpful. The story throughout is that the train won't stop at Chapel Station, except that of course it does, and guests are asked to deboard the train and are led into the indoor drop section of 13. Sorry, I mean the crypt. This is quite nicely themed to a degree. There are skulls all over the walls and wraiths that do look a bit like leftover 13 theming. One of the train conductors gives a speech by a tombstone. The tombstone and wraith statues move a bit. A wraith walks out to scare guests at the front, and then we're all ushered out and back onto the train to escape. At this stage, I should point out there are clearly visible doors at the end of each carriage, which sort of telegraphs what's coming next. More spiel from the train conductors, the lights flicker and go out. My eyes are immediately drawn to the secret door, where I see a figure walk through, the lights come back on, and I have a nun standing in front of me. A nun. If you followed the story of this attraction so far, the crypt, the seance, the wraith, the possessions, what you'll notice is a complete absence of fucking nuns. I can only assume someone figured that people like those sinister films and they've got a nun in them, so that'll work. But it's completely irrelevant to the story, and this is the grand finale of the attraction. What? Why? Also, there's some creepy writing on the wall that's revealed by UV lighting, and the obligatory musky old house smell pods. Finally, we're ushered off the train once more to the exit, and this has always been one of the cleverest parts of the attraction, as the gift shop isn't really a gift shop, it's the final scene. Guests are held up briefly by the shop attendant, lights flicker, everything in the shop rattles, and the now possessed attendant provides a final scare, followed by the station master revealing himself as the Angel of Death and cackling manically. You exit through the actual gift shop, which has a bunch of new merchandise, and that's Ghost Train.
So there were a few changes this time around. Unfortunately, none of them for the better, and that's a concern because I already had quite low opinions of this attraction. So the pre-show was basically the same. That hasn't changed at all. There used to be a second pre-show room. We walked straight through that and boarded the train. Then the process was kind of similar to how it was before. It felt like it was a lot more wordy. Some of the background audio overpowers the voices of the actors, and that is a problem because I'm looking around at other people on the train and they just look kind of bemused at what's going on. Everyone just looks a bit confused and disinterested, to be honest. It's not an experience that really captures the imagination. So you go through the first section of the train bit, then you get off the train and you get onto the crypt. You stop at Chapel Station where you're not supposed to stop. Ooh. And yeah, you go into the crypt. That, to be fair, was better than the first time I rode it. If you remember rightly, when I rode it the first time, I don't think the Angel of Death effect worked, so that fell a bit flat. This time it did, so that was all right, I suppose. And then you reboard, more of the same. The nuns come out. Still don't know what the nuns have to do with anything. Help me out with that one. What do nuns have to do with the Angel of Death? There are wraiths in the crypts. If wraiths had come out there, that makes sense. But nuns, they're just random. They just appear last minute. Don't know why. One thing I do like though is that when the lights start flickering, there's all this kind of UV writing on the walls. That looks quite cool. That's quite effective. I enjoy that. And then what used to happen is you'd exit through the gift shop and it'd be a fake out scene. That didn't happen at all. We just walked straight out into the cafe. There you go. I still don't know what to make of that. To me, it feels like a massive waste of a huge building that could house a legitimately good dark ride, and instead we get this sort of half-assed student theatre performance. And no shade on any of the actors in there. They're all doing a job. And the one thing I will say about it, to its credit, is that while you're in there, you don't feel like you're at Thorpe Park. So there is some level of immersion in sort of taking you out of, taking you into a new experience. It's just not a very good experience, that's all. But there we go. Let me know what you think of Ghost Train down below. I've still got about an hour here at Thorpe Park. Stealth is back open. So I'm going to go and ride Stealth, get on a few other rides here. Do you want to come and join me? It's so great to have Stealth back open. There it goes. 5 minutes. Let's get some laps in. Well, second Merlin Park of the day and second station evacuation of the day. Stealth has gone down, maintenance and management called. They don't know how long it's going to be. And on the basis there's only 40 minutes of ride time left, I'm not going to wait it out, mainly because there's a small matter of Hyperia to ride. And I'd much rather go over there than wait here. Surely not throwing any shade there, are you, Thorpe Park? So the main line wait is 25 minutes. I'm obviously going with a single rider, as I do. Let's see how busy it looks. Oh, it's the perfect weather for it. I tell you what, a sort of 4:30 ride on a day like today, I imagine it's going to be absolutely blazing around. So I really hate to say this, but that was quite rattly. Not to the point where it was totally detrimental on the ride experience. Still think that's by far the best roller coaster in the UK. That hasn't changed at all. The key elements on it still absolutely bang, but those wheels are definitely, you definitely feel it. Not only do you feel it, but you hear it. You hear the rattle as you're going around. Particularly weirdly, going through the stall, it really shook through there, and you thought that's probably be the smoothest bit. That's where things calm down for a little while. So yeah, very strange. Hopefully they can figure it all out. Now they put the new wheels on to try and help the train carry more speed as it kept valleying going through the outer bank thing up there. I don't know if you can see it. It's difficult when you're looking at things in reverse like I am right now. But so it definitely carries more speed. That's great. But yeah, it's weird that Mack haven't quite worked out how to get this running perfectly. Because running perfectly, this is an absolute beast. It still is, but like I say, just a shame that these little niggles keep surfacing. Anyway, there's 5 minutes to ride close, so I'm going to jump back in for another ride. And I don't know, maybe I'll get the other train and it'll be a slightly different experience. Let's find out. It's really hot here. I don't know if you can notice, I'm deteriorating. Well, I'm sad to say that was the worst ride on Hyperia I've ever had. Now, don't get me wrong, that's still a really good ride, but there's a really bad judder to that with those new wheels. And that ride in particular, I don't know if I got the worst train that time. It was very, very noticeable from the moment that you sat on the train in the station. It was vibrating, which is weird. Up the lift hill, you can feel the track underneath you the whole way up. And then there's some real just juddery moments. Those new wheels haven't taken at all, and I really hope they can get that sorted out, because it's a problematic issue, really is, because this should be smooth. It should be, I mean, you're not expecting it to be like silky smooth, but it should still be as smooth as it was riding last year. That is, that's juddering quite a bit right now. So there we have it, a short, sharp visit to Thorpe Park this afternoon. Mainly to come and give Ghost Train a fair chance. It didn't deliver, and I think the most frustrating thing about it is that when I look at that building behind me there could be a world-class dark ride in there, couldn't they? When you think of all the money they've spent on this attraction, there could be something genuinely brilliant in there. But instead what we have is a sort of amateur dramatics horror show. Oh, there we go. And Hyperia, yeah, really disappointed that those new nylon wheels have kind of started to have quite a negative effect on the ride experience itself. I rode it a couple of days after they were put on, and it was absolutely hacking around the track then, probably riding as good as it had ridden since opening day. But yeah, that last ride I had today was the worst ride I've had yet. So I hope they can get that resolved, because it would be a shame if the best roller coaster in the UK starts to deteriorate just because of a lack of, well, proper maintenance, investment, all that sort of stuff. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, that's always great. Like the video if you could, subscribe to the channel for loads more stuff, and I shall catch you soon. Cheers, see you soon.